Imagine a world where the rules of computing are rewritten overnight. Not faster laptops or shinier smartphones, but machines so powerful they could crack codes that protect global banks, simulate molecules to cure diseases, or train artificial intelligence at speeds we can barely comprehend. This isn't science fiction, it's the promise of quantum computing, a field where the stakes are nothing short of revolutionary. But in the summer of 2024, a seismic shock rattled this high-stakes race. Microsoft abruptly shut down its cutting-edge quantum research lab in Sydney, Australia. The closure wasn't just a corporate reshuffle, it was a move that sent ripples through the global quantum ecosystem, raising questions about hidden motives, geopolitical chess games, and a team of brilliant minds who refused to bow to corporate ultimatums. This story isn't just about a lab closing, it's about rebellion, innovation, and a technology that could reshape the future. Buckle up, because the quantum race just got a lot wilder. Deep within the University of Sydney's $150 million Nanoscience hub, a team of 15 quantum researchers wasn't chasing the usual tech dreams. They weren't building apps or tweaking algorithms. Instead, they were tackling one of the most fiendish problems in quantum computing: how to control millions of qubits, the delicate subatomic building blocks of quantum computers, without drowning in a tangle of wires or battling heat that could destroy their fragile quantum states. For 7 years, under the leadership of Professor David Riley and Dr. Thomas Oakey, this team, backed by Microsoft's deep pockets, worked in a state-of-the-art lab cooled to temperatures near absolute zero, colder than outer space. Their mission: to create a chip that could act as the brain of a quantum computer, sitting right next to the qubits and controlling them with surgical precision. In 2021, they unveiled a breakthrough that made the quantum world sit up and take notice. They developed a cryogenic CMOS chip, a cryo-CMOS controller that could operate at millikelvin temperatures right inside the dilution refrigerators that keep qubits stable. This wasn't just a technical win, it was a game changer. Quantum computers today are plagued by the wiring problem, where thousands of cables snake in and out of freezers, generating heat that disrupts quantum states. The Sydney team's chip eliminated that chaos, offering a path to control millions of qubits without the mess. Industry insiders whispered that this technology was years ahead of competitors like IBM or Google. Some even said unpublished breakthroughs were just 2 years from commercial-grade systems that could redefine quantum scalability. But then, in June 2024, Microsoft dropped a bombshell. The Sydney lab was closing, and the entire team was given an ultimatum: move to Redmond, Washington, or lose their jobs. Picture this: you're a quantum physicist who spent years solving problems that could change the world. Your team has cracked a code that could unlock practical quantum computing. Then, 2 Microsoft executives fly in from the US with an offer that sounds like a dream and a threat all at once. Relocate to Microsoft's headquarters in Redmond, and you'll earn salaries so high you could buy a house in Sydney's skyrocketing real estate market without a mortgage. Refuse, and your job and access to Microsoft's resources vanishes. It was a deal designed to be irresistible, but for the Sydney team, it was a line in the sand. Every single one of the 15 researchers led by Riley and Oakey said no. They didn't just walk away from Microsoft's golden handcuffs. They turned their backs on the tech giant and formed a new company, Emergence Quantum, to continue their work in Australia. This wasn't just a career move, it was a rebellion. The team, now 20 strong with additional PhDs, stayed united, driven by a shared vision to build quantum control systems that could work with any quantum platform: spins, photons, ions, or superconductors. They called themselves qubit agnostic, a bold stance in a field where most players bet on one type of qubit. Their goal: to be the connective tissue of quantum computing, the enablers who make every quantum computer work better, faster, and at scale. Within a year, Emergence Quantum proved they weren't just dreamers. In June 2025, they published a groundbreaking paper in Nature, alongside another Australian quantum startup, Dirac. Their cryo-CMOS chip, integrated with Dirac's silicon-based qubits, operated at ultra-cold temperatures without degrading quantum performance. This was the final piece of the puzzle: a practical, scalable solution that slashed the footprint of quantum computers by eliminating miles of wiring. It was like watching a band get dropped by their label, only to release a chart-topping album. Emergence Quantum wasn't just surviving, they were rewriting the rules of the quantum game. Microsoft's official line was simple. The Sydney closure was part of a consolidation to accelerate quantum productization, but the timing and context tell a more complex story. The shutdown came just as the US government tightened export controls on quantum technology, classifying it as a critical asset under ITAR regulations. Overnight, breakthrough research happening abroad became a liability. Was Microsoft's decision purely strategic, or was it a response to geopolitical pressures? The US is pouring billions into the National Quantum Initiative, aiming to secure quantum dominance amid fears that quantum computers could one day break encryption standards, threatening everything from banking to national security. Having a world-class quantum lab in Australia, outside US jurisdiction, may have been too risky. The plot thickens when you consider DARPA's role. In July 2024, DARPA launched its quantum benchmarking initiative, selecting just 2 projects for its final phase to develop utility-scale quantum systems by 2033. Microsoft's topological qubit project was one of them. Suddenly, the need to centralize expertise in the US made sense. DARPA's funding and oversight demanded it, but here's where it gets murky. Some insiders speculate Microsoft may have quietly encouraged the formation of Emergence Quantum. Why? Because while Microsoft retained the patents from the Sydney lab's 7 years of work, the real value, the expertise, walked out the door. By letting the team go independent, Microsoft could indirectly benefit from their innovations without the overhead of maintaining an overseas lab. Emergence Quantum's qubit-agnostic approach means their technology could complement Microsoft's topological qubits, potentially through licensing deals or partnerships via DARPA's programs. This theory isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. Both Microsoft and Emergence Quantum are now working with DARPA, with Emergence joining the benchmarking initiative alongside IonQ, another quantum player. Could this be a backdoor reunion, where Microsoft accesses Sydney's innovations through government partnerships? Or is it a high-stakes gamble that could backfire if Emergence partners with Microsoft's rivals, like IBM or Google? The patents Microsoft holds could spark a legal showdown, reminiscent of Waymo's billion-dollar lawsuit against Uber over stolen self-driving tech. For now, the chessboard is set and every move is being watched. Behind the headlines and corporate maneuvers lies a human story that's just as compelling. The Sydney team wasn't just a collection of PhDs. They were a tight-knit group who'd spent years in the trenches, pushing the boundaries of physics in a lab that felt like a second home. For them, the ultimatum from Microsoft wasn't just about relocating. It was about uprooting lives, families, and a sense of purpose tied to their Australian roots. Many had built careers in Sydney, mentored students at the university, and contributed to a vibrant local quantum community. The idea of moving to Redmond, even with jaw-dropping salaries, meant leaving behind a legacy they'd poured their hearts into. Choosing to stay wasn't just defiance, it was a commitment to their vision and their country. As Dr. Thomas Oakey put it in a 2025 interview with The Australian, "We didn't just want to be cogs in a machine, we wanted to build something that lasts right here." Their decision to form Emergence Quantum was a leap of faith, fueled by a belief that their work could thrive outside Microsoft's shadow. The closure of the Sydney lab isn't just a corporate drama, it's a pivotal moment in the global quantum race. Quantum computing isn't about incremental upgrades, it's about rewriting the rules of computation. Microsoft's bet is on topological qubits, which promise inherent stability and error resistance compared to the superconducting qubits pursued by IBM and Google. If Microsoft's Majorana 1 chip, announced in February 2025, delivers on its promise, it could scale to 1,000,000 qubits in a device the size of a smartphone. That's not just a computer, it's a paradigm shift. Imagine training AI models in hours instead of weeks, simulating chemical reactions to discover new drugs, or breaking encryption that protects global systems. The Pentagon's interest is no coincidence. Quantum-enhanced AI could redefine defense, from code breaking to autonomous systems. But Microsoft's path isn't guaranteed. Their Majorana 1 announcement was met with skepticism at the American Physical Society meeting in March 2025, where physicists called the data noisy and inconclusive. Meanwhile, competitors like IBM, with their 100-plus qubit systems, and Google, with their quantum cloud platforms, are flashing progress. Yet these systems are limited by error rates and scalability issues that Microsoft's topological approach aims to sidestep. If Microsoft nails this, they could leapfrog the field, rendering billions in rival investments obsolete, like betting on vacuum tubes before transistors change the game. Emergence Quantum, meanwhile, meanwhile, is the wild card. Their cryo-CMOS technology could be the universal adapter every quantum computer needs, regardless of qubit type. Their partnership with Dirac, backed by $15 million in funding as of July 2025, shows they're not waiting for permission. They're already generating revenue through DARPA and other partnerships, proving their tech works in the real world. Sydney is emerging as a quantum hub, with startups like Dirac and Silicon Quantum Computing, and a $940 million Australian government investment in PsiQuantum's Brisbane facility. But the loss of the Sydney lab stinks. Australia's government was blindsided, learning of the closure through press reports after investing heavily in a national quantum strategy. The irony, they poured nearly $1 billion into an American company while homegrown talent like Emergence Quantum slipped through their fingers. Australia was poised to be a quantum powerhouse. The University of Sydney's Nanoscience hub, built with a $150 million investment, was a beacon of innovation. The Sydney Lab's breakthroughs were a testament to Australia's two-decade lead in quantum research. Yet, Microsoft's exit exposed a vulnerability. The Australian government, despite its $101.2 million commitment to quantum and AI in the 2023-24 budget, was caught off guard. The closure came just as they launched their national quantum strategy, aiming to make Australia a global leader. Instead, they lost a team that could have been the linchpin of their quantum ecosystem. Emergence Quantum's rise is a silver lining, but it's bittersweet. Operating as an independent entity, they're free to partner with anyone: DARPA, European institutes, or even Chinese investors if they choose. Nothing stops them from taking their expertise to the highest bidder. Australia may have exported the control layer of quantum computing, a technology that could define the next generation of infrastructure. If Emergence's innovations end up powering quantum systems for foreign governments or corporations, Australia could be sidelined in a race they helped start. The stakes are global. Whoever controls quantum control systems could dictate the terms of computing's future. The Sydney Lab's closure and Emergence Quantum's rise aren't just Australian stories. They're a wake-up call for the global innovation landscape. Quantum computing is a field where talent is as critical as capital, and the loss of a team like Sydney's shows how quickly expertise can slip through a nation's fingers. Countries like Canada, the UK, and Singapore are ramping up quantum investments, with Canada's $360 million quantum strategy and the UK's £2.5 billion National Quantum Technologies Program as of 2025. But the Sydney saga highlights a risk. When multinational corporations control research, local ecosystems can be left vulnerable. Emergence Quantum's independence is a rare success, but not every team can pull off such a pivot. For smaller nations, building quantum industries means balancing collaboration with global giants against the need to nurture homegrown talent. If Australia doesn't act fast, its quantum edge could become another country's gain, with Emergence Quantum's technology potentially powering systems in the US, Europe, or beyond. As the quantum race accelerates, it's not just about who builds the first scalable machine, it's about who controls its power. Quantum computers could unlock breakthroughs in drug discovery, climate modeling, and AI, but they also pose risks. A quantum system capable of breaking RSA encryption, as predicted by NIST's post-quantum cryptography standards set for 2025, could destabilize global finance and security. The Pentagon's $1.2 billion investment in quantum through DARPA, as reported in August 2025, underscores the military implications, from secure communications to quantum-enhanced AI for defense. Emergence Quantum's technology, which makes quantum systems more practical, could amplify these risks if it falls into the wrong hands. Their independence gives them freedom, but also responsibility. Will they prioritize partnerships that advance humanity, or chase the highest bidder in a race where ethics often lag behind ambition? The Sydney team's rebellion may have sparked a new era of innovation, but it also raises questions about how the world will wield the power they're unleashing. The closure of the Sydney lab and the rise of Emergence Quantum also reveal the intricate geopolitical dynamics at play in the quantum race. Quantum computing is no longer just a scientific pursuit, it's a strategic asset in a world where technological supremacy equates to global influence. The US, China, and the EU are locked in a silent battle to lead this field, with each pouring billions into quantum research. China's $15.3 billion investment in quantum technologies, reported in 2025 by the South China Morning Post, aims to rival the US's National Quantum Initiative. Meanwhile, the EU's quantum flagship program, with €1 billion in funding, is fostering collaborations across 27 member states. Australia, despite its smaller scale, was a contender thanks to its world-class researchers. But Microsoft's withdrawal and the potential for Emergence Quantum to partner globally highlight a harsh reality. Smaller nations risk becoming pawns in a game dominated by superpowers. If Emergence's technology ends up in the hands of a foreign power, whether through DARPA's programs or, hypothetically, Chinese investments, Australia could lose its stake in shaping quantum's future. This isn't just about technology, it's about who gets to set the rules for the next century of computing. At its core, the quantum race is a war for talent, and the Sydney Lab's story underscores how fragile that resource is. The 20 researchers who formed Emergence Quantum represent a rare concentration of expertise, PhDs who've spent years mastering the physics, engineering, and mathematics of quantum control. Losing them to Redmond would have been a brain drain. Their decision to stay and form a startup was a triumph of agency, but it also exposes a broader challenge. Quantum computing demands highly specialized skills, and there aren't enough experts to go around. Globally, only a few thousand researchers are qualified to work at this level, and companies like IBM, Google, and Quantinuum are aggressively recruiting. Emergence Quantum's $15 million funding round in July 2025, led by Australian venture capital, shows they can compete, but scaling their team will be tough. If Australia wants to stay in the game, it needs to double down on training the next generation, through programs like the University of Sydney's Quantum PhD pipeline, or risk losing more talent to global players. For viewers, this is a reminder. The future of tech isn't just about machines, it's about the minds behind them, and those minds are in high demand. Beyond the science and geopolitics, the Sydney Lab's closure raises economic questions that ripple far beyond Australia. Quantum computing is projected to be an $8.6 billion market by 2030, according to a 2025 report by McKinsey, with applications in pharmaceuticals, finance, and logistics. The country or company that cracks scalable quantum systems could capture a lion's share of that value, creating jobs, industries, and wealth. Emergence Quantum's technology, which makes quantum computers more practical, positions them as a potential economic catalyst. But their independence also means they could partner with international firms, diverting economic benefits away from Australia. Microsoft's patents, meanwhile, give them a chokehold on key innovations, potentially allowing them to license technology at a premium or block competitors. For Australia, the loss of the Sydney Lab was a missed chance to anchor a quantum economy at home. For the world, it's a signal that the economic rewards of quantum will go to those who move fastest, whether that's Microsoft in Redmond, Emergence in Sydney, or a dark horse elsewhere. The question isn't just who builds the first quantum computer, it's who profits from it and how those profits shape global markets. Emergence Quantum's meteoric rise is reshaping the quantum ecosystem in ways no one predicted. Their qubit-agnostic cryo-CMOS chip, capable of controlling millions of qubits across different platforms, has positioned them as a universal enabler in a fragmented field. Unlike Microsoft's topological qubits or IBM's superconducting systems, Emergence's technology doesn't compete directly, it enhances. Their June 2025 Nature paper, demonstrating compatibility with Dirac's silicon qubits, sent shockwaves through the industry, proving their chip wasn't just theoretical but ready for real-world integration. With $15 million in funding and partnerships with DARPA and IonQ, Emergence is already generating revenue, a rare feat for a quantum startup. But their independence comes with risks. Without the backing of a tech giant, they face intense pressure to scale while navigating a minefield of patent disputes. Their success could unify the quantum industry, creating a standardized control layer that accelerates development across the board. Or it could spark a new wave of competition as giants like Microsoft leverage their IP to challenge Emergence's innovations. The Sydney Lab's closure and Emergence Quantum's emergence raise a critical question. Will the quantum industry unite or fracture? The field is notoriously siloed, with companies like IBM, Google, and Quantinuum pursuing proprietary architectures. Emergence Quantum's qubit-agnostic approach could bridge these divides, offering a universal control system that works with any qubit type. But Microsoft's patents, covering 7 years of Sydney's work, loom large. A potential licensing deal could see Microsoft and Emergence patents collaborate, combining topological qubits with advanced control systems to dominate the market. Alternatively, patent disputes could lead to a legal quagmire, stalling progress and fragmenting the ecosystem. The stakes are high. A unified quantum industry could deliver practical systems by 2030, transforming AI, cryptography, and science. A fractured one could delay the revolution for decades, leaving quantum computing stuck in the lab. For viewers, this is a glimpse into a future where collaboration or conflict will decide who shapes the next era of technology. Since the Sydney closure, Microsoft has gone quiet. Media access to their quantum labs has dried up, and technical details are shared sparingly. Their February 2025 announcement of the Majorana 1 chip promised a full-stack quantum computer by 2027, but skepticism lingers. Are they playing the tortoise, letting competitors flaunt limited demos while they build a game-changer in secret? Or is their topological approach a risky bet that could falter under scrutiny? Microsoft's silence fuels speculation, but one thing is clear, they still hold the patents from Sydney's 7 years of work. Those intellectual property rights could be a trump card, giving them leverage over any quantum player needing control systems. Emergence Quantum, meanwhile, is moving fast. Their Nature paper and partnerships with Dirac and IonQ show they're not just surviving, they're thriving. Their qubit-agnostic approach positions them as a neutral player, potentially indispensable to every quantum company. But the shadow of Microsoft's patents looms. If Emergence's new systems tread too close to their old work, legal battles could erupt. Alternatively, Microsoft could license their technology, creating a symbiotic relationship that benefits both. The outcome will shape whether quantum computing becomes a reality in 5 years or remains a lab-bound dream for decades. This isn't just a story about a lab or a company. It's about the future of technology, power, and innovation. Quantum computers could redefine how we secure data, develop medicines, or build AI. The race to control this technology is a global chess game, with governments, corporations, and rebels like Emergence Quantum vying for position. Australia's loss could be the world's gain or a missed chance to lead. Microsoft's strategy, whether calculated or chaotic, will ripple across industries. And the Sydney team's defiance reminds us that innovation often comes from those who dare to break free. What's next? Will Microsoft's topological qubits deliver a quantum revolution, or will Emergence Quantum's control system steal the show? Will Australia reclaim its place in the quantum race, or will their talent fuel foreign powers? The answers are unfolding, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If this story blew your mind, hit the like button to let us know. Drop a comment with your thoughts. Was Microsoft's move a blunder or a brilliant play? And if you want to stay ahead of the quantum race, subscribe for updates on every twist and turn. The future of computing is being written right now. Don't miss it.